You got the balls to say that. You got the balls to say it. Hey yo, all right, this is my timeline. This is how I'm gonna do the timeline and what I've seen and what I've researched and what I've seen. So timeline to me. Okay. Now, when we want to talk about the state of black affairs or where we at and all of that, I noticed the timeline was kind of weird, and I noticed the CIA and all of what they be doing and shit. So I've been noticing a little timeline. So I'm gonna go to the timeline right now. Okay, I remember when people talk about Black Wall Street. It was in the 20s. I don't know exact. I'm not even gonna go to exact dates. I know it was in the 1920s. Okay, this is why I know. Okay, I haven't read that in a while. And then okay, you got 1920s. Then they fuck up Black Wall Street. Then you got the 30s, the 40s, World War II. So then you get World War II. Then after World War II, they sent all of the little Nazi scientists over here and all that bullshit. And they sent them over here in the South America. They sent all their enemy over here to the United States and everywhere else. Okay, so that's a clue in itself to know that that's some shit. You shouldn't take that lightly when you know they did that. And so they sent the Nazi people over here. Then I would say like in the 50s, whatever, it was black people was having a hard time finding jobs coming out to service. It was easier for white people to find jobs coming out of the services, right? Coming out of the World War II and everything. And then you had the Korean War, and you had black people serving in that, and they had to come out and try to get jobs and everything. But when they found out that it was not easy for them to get jobs because of the color of their skin and how they were being real racist back then, because that's racist when someone don't allow you to eat, feed your family because of the color of your skin. They call you all kind of names. That's just being prejudiced. But if they don't stop you from eating, then they ain't really doing nothing. Just calling your name. So that's it. Just like you call a dog a mutt and all that. Just a name. It's a name. So when people call each other bitches every day, it's just the name, right? Okay. So when we get back down to the racist part, where the black people couldn't find the jobs, then they started getting together again themselves and building communities and protecting their communities. So they started coming up with these eventually CIA programs called the Black Panther Party. Eventually, I'm not saying that is what it started off that way, but I'm just saying when they started off, you had the Black Panthers, you had the movements that was going on in neighborhoods and the black neighborhoods, and you had black businesses start to grow again. The black businesses start to grow again. You got on record stores. You got record industry people like Barry Gordy and Quincy Jones and all these people coming up. Even in the industry of entertainment, you had a lot of black entertainers coming up. Chuck Berry, you know, Sammy Davis Jr., all the way up to James Brown. Singing groups like the Four Tops, Temptations. You had groups and black groups coming up, taking over. Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. You just had a lot of groups uh, that were coming up. Lil Richard and stuff like that. They were taking over the scene in the music industry. Then you also had black people also taking it upon themselves to build their own communities and all of that, and have their own security in their own communities. So they were doing all of that. So everything was moving into play. The military part with the protection of the communities, the entertainment industry, and also the corporate industry on a short scale, because black people were investing into themselves and putting back into the community and trying to protect their communities again. So then you look at the timeline. You go from the 20s, 40s, 50s. Here to come black people again. So you give us a good 30 years to 20 something to 30 years, we're going to be back again after something happened. If something happened, you give us 20, 30 some years, we be back again, because you can't stop it, because of melanation and the things going on. You can't stop it. It's going to be. So they have to keep being ahead of the melanated people, black people, for 30 years at least. 30 years at least ahead of. So when you get 30 years ahead of them, you already know what's projected in the next 30 years with the pace that they're moving on, because it's motherfuckers tracking niggas. That's how they do it. That's how they do it. CIA, the only motherfuckers can do it to censor the USA, the US United States censor when they want to run around here counting people and all of that census, that shit. That's part of the CIA shit too. That's how they can gauge how many people moving and doing and what they doing. This is how they can tell what you're doing and how you're moving, how you multiplying or whatever. That's one way. So when they know that 20 to 30 years, black people gonna be back again after some shit happened, they had to do something to put black people to sleep and also make black people work for them again. So what they did was they brought Martin Luther King. And yes, they did that brought that motherfucker. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. They brought Martin Luther King. And when he came, he didn't know no better. He probably did. But he was chosen, selected, whatever. Because it was somebody else at first. And then they chose, selected this nigga. When they got him, he didn't write the I Have a Dream speech. He didn't do that. It was written by somebody that wasn't him. I'm just going to say he didn't write it. He was up there doing protected, even though they showed the hoses and all of that, the being hosed, all of that shit was just for people to see. They wasn't finna kill this dude until he completed his task. What did he do? If they killed him, they took him off the scene. What he did was he put niggas to sleep because some niggas said, yo, we want to be included in everything. When the mother niggas knew if you left us alone, we gonna eventually get back to how we was. But then you had the niggas that was living back then. I want it now. I want it now. I want to be now, even with them now. Which meant, okay, now, if you left alone and you got your own bathrooms, you got your own this or that, you could do whatever you want to do with your shit because now it's yours. You could be separated, it don't matter. Just build on your shit. And most black people knew that back then. But you had other ones, I want to be it now. So when Ronald Reagan came out with that speech, and he was like, yeah, we need to save America, keep it from going low down. And this is when he came out. Ronald Reagan did this in the 50s and the 60s when he was an actor. Remember, Ronald Reagan used to be an actor, but then he turned into a politician. And when he started being, I think it was a senator or some shit, he came out with a speech talking about how America is suffering, the industry is suffering, and we might not be the number one or this or that. And then that's when Martin Luther King came. And then that's when niggas say, I want to work for them again. And then that's when niggas stop saying they're going to stop working with each other. And that's when niggas say, you know what, I ain't working for you no more. Your record store ain't paying me enough. I ain't working at your laundromat no more. I ain't get paid. I'm finna work for GM Motors. I'm finna work for Ford. I'm finna work for all these corporations. Because they getting me money and I ain't finna work for my fellow brother no more. It ain't finna happen. And so the motherfuckers that was protecting the community and all of that, eventually the money started leaving the community, but then guess what else started coming in the community? Drugs. Drugs started coming in the community because why not? But wait, let's go back. So now that you do that, Martin Luther King, he do this shit and make everybody want to work for them again, because this is what they did. Essentially, they was like, okay, we'll just get them back working for us again, except for we ain't going to have a whip and chain on them. We going to have something else. So we going to get them back working with us again through this segregation shit. So now they working with the white folks again, 4 white folks again, that wouldn't even let them work for them before the segregation shit. You can't come in my store. Now you can work for me? Because it was a plot to that. You could work for me. They get kickbacks because the more people work for them, they get kickbacks, tax incentives, and on top of that, you saving their business. The black people can't grow Black Wall Street no more if they work for somebody else. So if you work for somebody else, now you deterred and you don't want to work for your fellow black man no more. You don't want to support their business no more. This is where that started happening. But there was a strategy. They don't give a fuck about no freeing no niggas or nothing. They just want to keep niggas as slaves and do it the other way. This is why I'm trying to tell you everybody's slaves. Over here, the video. This is about money, all of it. The power, money. It is, you can think on your feelings and emotions, thinking, oh, the black. Yeah, motherfucker, whatever. But it's also about them keeping capital, money, over your ass and whatever it take, nigga. So at the end of the day, so then that came. And after that came, they was like, okay, Martin Luther King said, yeah, you work for them again, work for them. Then all of a sudden, if you look in black neighborhoods, the record stores, black record stores started black record stores that used to be in the black neighborhood, black owned, gone. We can gone. Businesses, black owned laundromats, gone. Black owned this, gone. Started going. And then guess what else started? That's what else happened. Right after that Martin Luther King shit, you had Woodstock. Woodstock brought in the drugs and white people started working with black people, started being cool with black people again. started making black exploitation films. Black people started making black films. White people and black people could say harsh shit to each other, and it was like a joke. I.e. Archie Bunker, i.e. i.e. Archie Bunker, i.e. Uh the Jeffersons, and I.e. all these things that they could say stuff to each other and it wasn't that bad. It was just taking this comedy. It was a joke. And then all of a sudden, boom, what happens after that? What happens after that? You have crack. Because now you got crack, and then right when you bring in crack, because that came in the 80s, and if you do the timeline from 1950 something to 1980 something to 1990 something, that's a 30-year jump. If black people would have just stayed segregated, it was left alone, they would have probably had Black Wall Street again, because it takes 20 to 30 years to come out the debacle they was in. So then you look at from 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, oh, finna be 90s, black people would have been way on some different shit with their own stuff. What happened? Crack. What happened? AIDS. So by the time crack and AIDS got through fucking up everything, and then with the digital programming and locking up niggas because of the crack laws that they came up with, separating black men from homes again because they find them with a little crack and get locked up. So they already started that shit with the crack and the drugs and the programs and the AIDS and all of that. And then next thing you know, you got the 90s. Now look at the product of niggas you got. You still had powerful niggas in the 90s. So what you had to do, now these boulets and clubs had to become more prevalent, because now you got to get the black people that can be effective and still come out of that 70s, 80s shit. They can still affect other people. You got to get them by putting them in clubs and boulets and all of that. And so now they don't even care. They want to keep their own down because they finally made it. So they don't care about nobody else making it. They're going to go along with the bullshit information they was given from the white man that was given to them, put them in a position. And so now you got them kicking niggas' asses, and this niggas kicking niggas' ass after the crack era. After this, you got to understand the weapons that was put before black people, how they was done strategically, 30 to 20 to 30 years ahead. They always thinking of niggas. So now all of a sudden you seeing niggas being put in positions. All Malika Andrews, old fake ass shits, and all these other motherfuckers put up because they some fakes. That's why every narrative that come out, they gonna argue, they gonna put up an argument. Every movement, they gonna be standing on it. These movements is Black Lives Matter, White Lives Matter, all this something matter is ridiculous. It's stupid agent, dumb CIA, foolish kid, kindergarten, dumb boo-boo, dumb bobo shit. If you don't know nothing by now, you don't know nothing ever. So why you gotta wear shirts? You know what I'm saying? So fuck it. You know what I mean? We done when we gotta start doing that. And this is why I'm trying to tell you the consciousness is fucked up, and that's the way it is. Nobody gonna bring it to light but me. I'm gonna bring it to light because I know this is exactly what happened. You can look at the timeline. Look at the timeline. Look at how the shit happened. Ain't no coincidences, bitch. The shit is what it is. The timeline is that boom, 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 boom. And then now you got niggas now like this. And then they can come out and make niggas how they want to make them. Because now niggas could be faggots. I mean, I don't mean to say that because I ain't got nothing against the HBC, whatever community, whatever that is. I ain't got nothing against them, LGBTQ community or whatever. I ain't got nothing against them. But no, what I'm just saying is the masculinity that black men once had, the masculine energy that came is dissipated to nothing now. Because that was the masculine energy. That was the masculine energy. And now it's not no more. It's turned to snitch energy, go to jail energy, everybody killing each other energy with the black boys. That's where it's going to, that's where it's turning to. And so now you get what you got there. You got a concoction of black men that can't even be, and then you got the black women that's fighting against them. So now you got that going on. So you got the gender wars within the race of black people, and then you got black people on each other within the race. So you can't go looking out the race talking about, hey, white people need to. No, you need to get the inside of this shit together with us first. Need to be done. That shit need to be done first. But they done did their magic so good that by the time 1984 and 85 came, we were already done. It was already over. In 1985, it was already over.